Hey guys, hi, this is Kaushal.
I'm Rahul.
And we are making this video as a first attempt to talk about sales. The reason why both of us are making this video is because we are at completely different junctures in our lives, and I am kind of in a position where I've just started out in sales, and Rahul here is an SDR director. Welcome, Rahul.
Thank you so much. It's my first time, so bear with me. I wouldn't say that we are probably in a different position or different junctions. I think from what I know, you have done a sales role before, and you come from a pretty big brand. Speaking of brands, I think that's what we're going to discuss today, and it's going to be an interesting topic. I started my journey in SDR role like 5 years ago when I was 29. I'm disclosing my age. I'm 34 now. And what I want to understand is, since I did the SDR role about 3-4 years ago, I think it's been a while, even though I manage a lot of SDRs, what I want to understand is have a candid chat with somebody who does not work with me so that he can probably give me like a real perspective how things work right now with other companies and how does it feel to be an SDR right now in India. You recently moved from a big brand to Charlie. How's the experience?
Well, Rahul, I can, from what you said in the beginning, right, that you're getting into it, and you want to know as a person who is already there for 5 years in this industry, right? So first thing I would like to say is I hope my manager doesn't watch this, because if I'm talking about what's happening at my level, that kind of gets into that scrutiny as well.
I'll take care of that.
So I kind of like the way you said it. I'll take care of that. And okay, but seriously, it's been great. Yes, I have worked in a role before where I was closing deals, and I've just it's been 2 months. I've got into this industry, the SaaS industry, and to be honest, I was reading a lot about it before coming to this industry. Right, and this is a true story. What happened recently when I joined this company, I realized I'm 28 years old, by the way. When I joined this company, I realized that what I was doing in my previous organization is entirely automated here.
Okay, like what?
So, as you know, when I was closing the deals, when I was closing the proposals, what we used to do was we used to speak to clients before we used to send out proposals. We used to draft the proposals ourselves. We used to manually send the proposals to the customers, and then we had to manually follow up for the payments, right?
Wow. Oh yeah, I can imagine that.
I mean, so I'm adding this word manual now after getting into SaaS. For me, it was something that's there's nothing called a manual automatic. This is just what humans do, right? They interact with customers, they get them proposals done, they close the deals. Even for renewals, we had to call up the customers like, hey, can you pay up because your dues are next, or your renewal is due next month. Now, when I've come to SaaS, I've come to realize that there's so many tools, there are so many softwares. Name some of the CRMs like Salesforce and HubSpot. Then there are accounting tools like Xero, QuickBooks. I have studied this in MBA, and we just had one chapter that described, this is a new thing called HubSpot coming up. Oh, you should know about it. But then when you go to work, you won't be using it.
Wow.
So now
Sorry, is that what they teach in MBA now?
Well, I think I shouldn't talk more about that because
that's a sensitive topic. I know. Some of the people who are probably watching, they know my views about MBA, and we'll talk about that in different topics someday. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. The kind of transition you've made. So what I'm curious about is you've been in the role for about 2 or 3 months. How do you feel about the role? What do you think are the biggest challenges? And if I may ask a very candid question, what do you talk to other SDRs right now?
I'll answer the first question. Then I'll come to the second part. I'll smoothly transition. I'll keep it subtle that way. Now, what do I feel about being an SDR? It's a big change for me, to be honest. In terms that what I was studying earlier, and before my MBA also, I was working with the brand, and what I was doing there, and then eventually went on to do my MBA, and then after that also in a corporate, what I was doing is very different in terms of the productive hours that we have in SaaS. Like, but I'll give you an example for that. When I was at India Mart, okay, it's my previous organization. I can talk about it. I'll be honest. We did have a lot of buffer. We did have a lot of window. And even in other organizations, when you go and work in other organizations, they have this limit. You just do 2 meetings a day. You just do 4 meetings a day, and you're done. You can go home. That was the kind of field sales I was in. It's in the Indian market. Sales is mainly field sales. You go and you talk to customers. That meeting gets counted. Even if that is getting you returns or not, it gets counted, and you've done 2 meetings. You can go home. I remember I have walked into an office at 9:30 a.m. I had a meeting at 10 a.m. I had another meeting at 11 a.m. 12 a.m. I was home. Right? So I'm kind of used to that lazy kind of lifestyle where, okay, if I'm just doing my 2 meetings, I'm sure I can probably follow up later, build my pipeline, get the collections. I'm done. I'm done. Now what I realize now as an SDR is, one, obviously you can do so much more after 12 p.m. till the evening. And second, what I was doing in those 2 hours is what a fresh sales or a CRM like Salesforce can do. Right? I don't have to like really go for a meeting just to hand over a proposal or just to give a presentation.
Yeah, I think most of the companies, especially your current company, or in fact, most of the startups right now are becoming result-oriented versus activity-oriented. And while I understand that's predominantly the culture in a lot of companies, in fact, I remember when you said, logging in 2 meetings or in the CRM or probably telling your boss, hey, I've done 2 meetings for the day. I think that's probably how my dad used to work. I'm not saying he was a lazy worker. I'm saying he probably had used to have the same sort of environment because he was working with the Indian company, and it was a mechanical company. It was an automobile company. But the point is, I think he would also count hours as productivity.
Exactly.
So he would be like, what, I have done 8 hours a day. It's my time to go home. Whether something was achieved or not, it would not bother because he knew that a paycheck at the end of the month was anyways coming, whether he works or not.
Yeah. I can relate so much to that because now when I compare that to what we are doing, of course the hours are there, but one thing that I've realized is you don't get to know when the hours pass by. Like I think I'm not sure about you, but or other SDRs, but that's certainly happening with me because I sit down with my follow-up mails or whatever my plan for the day is, and next thing I see it's 9 p.m. it's 10 p.m. So that's something that has really got me going, and obviously I'm not saying that I'm not promoting that kind of work culture where you're just burning out, but at least get up for tea.
Yeah, of course.
Get up for some snacks, and that's what I realized that the work here. I'm not saying it's so hectic. I'm just saying it's so interesting to see so many tools and features working in integration with each other. That is every day is probably it's just 2 months for me. That's why I'm saying this. But every day it's such a great pattern of all the systems working together. And you as a human seeing that okay, I have heard about something called artificial intelligence, machine learning. I don't know what that is. You actually see that in sense happening.
Yeah. And I think because everybody's working from home, it could be a possibility that you don't realize that you're working that long. And I think that's real. I think other day I read on LinkedIn news that this is happening. Burnout is happening due to Zoom meetings. So I think we all need to take care of the health. And I think one of the tips I can probably tell everyone is just set up a timer on your phone or something where it reminds you to get up, let's say after every hour for even 2 minutes, just stretch yourself and sit back. I think that should be the best advice.
That's what my director says as well. Right? But hey, you should go out for half an hour and you should come back. And my first question was, can I do that during office hours? And he was like, yeah, you can if you don't have calls scheduled. So he's doing that certainly.
I know you're a director, right?
Sorry?
I know you're a director, right? And the manager, and the SDRs, and the CEO, and everybody else.
I just feel like that movie where that guy asks if you can become a CM for a day, and then he takes a sip. That's exactly the feeling that I'm. I'm just so scared right now doing this with you. But I mean, Tell me about what you people are thinking at your level. What do you think about SDRs at your level? Since you have been SDRs before, how do you see the change now? How is the SaaS industry changing when it comes to SDRs and managing SDRs?
Of course, managing is slightly different than doing the same work, but at the same time, I don't see that as a difference in the position. For example, to keep myself, maybe I would want to use a better word, humble. I do prospecting myself so that I can understand the real challenges my SDRs are facing, and that gives me confidence. That gives me, a sense of motivation that hey, you know what? If for example, let's say if I'm able to book 4 or 5 meetings a month, I can obviously give one meeting to everyone, and that way they can get like a bonus meeting at the same time. It also helps me understand, okay, you know what, this is a new industry right now. For example, now we are selling to sales personas and marketing personas. And when I reach out to them, I want to understand, what do they think? What do they eat? What do they listen to? And once I'm able to get closer to them, I can get all the information, squeeze it in a bite-sized format, and I can give it to my team. So I don't see that as a big difference. Although I'm managing a team, I've never been able to get that feeling, and this could be predominantly because of the fact that maybe I also worked in big brands earlier, and there was a clear distinction that hey, you know what, I'm the manager, you work for me, and you don't work with me, and that's something which I always remember whenever somebody says, hey, I want to work for you. I always correct them. You know what, you don't want to work for me, you want to work with me. I'm working with you. I remember, I think in one of my previous company on Slack, that there's something which you have to enter, like, what do you do?
Yes.
And I remember distinctly typing in I work for SDRs. So they don't work for me, I work for them. Because of them, I have a job. So it's the other way around.
Thank you for bringing this up, because right now what you did for me as an SDR is you blurred the line between our positions, right? So I think I can be candid with you in bringing this up. I'm doing the SDR's job, right? And SDR's, if you take the full form, it's Sales Development Representative. Now, I have worked for 3 years. I'm 28, right? And especially in India, like a country like India, I'll probably get married soon. In the next 1 or 2 years, I'll get married. Now, I don't mind doing the same work. It's great. I love the work that I do. But why should I have the title representative in my name? Why can't I just have like a sales development manager or a business development manager? And this is not just my problem. It's not a problem. It's something that I don't want to show or brand myself as. There's this guy I was talking to this morning. He's an SDR. He's 30 years old. He's married, and on his LinkedIn he has mentioned sales development.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. I wouldn't say what you're saying. I'm not seeing that or experienced that. I think a lot of times, in fact, recently somebody I rolled out an offer to, and this person asked, could you maybe give me the position of sales development manager? I'll do the same job, but I want that on the paper, and it should say business development manager. I said, you know what? This is something which I've learned from my managers previously. You can put anything on LinkedIn. You can put sales development manager, it doesn't matter to me. It's your LinkedIn at the end of the day, it's your brand, do whatever you want to do with it. You want to write director of sales development, I'm okay with that, as long as HR problem comes, I don't know. But if you ask me, if you are probably tied to the title, then there is a problem. Because then you're looking for the entitlement, and probably you are in that sort of dilemma that, hey, is this the right job for me? If you are worried about how would other people react when I tell them, hey, I'm an SDR, at the end of the day, what I do is cold calling, or what I do is like set up meetings, you've probably seen in a bad light, then you probably need to think of your intrinsic motivations, what really drives you as an SDR. So it's as simple as that. If you're a janitor, if you are a plumber, if you're a cobbler, whatever you are, you should be proud of what you're doing, right? So cobbler would not mind somebody calling him, if he's being called, let's say, cobbler or plumber or whatever. When I got into sales, a year after you got. So I got into sales like when I was 29, and I had a hard time convincing my company of getting into sales, and they'd be like, you have a safe job, and then I was like, I want to do this, and it took me 3 years to convince my convince my parents and tell them, this is what I do and this is not what I do, because I think majority of the time is kind of spent on telling people what do you not do, because there's already an assumption. And as Indians, we tend to judge everybody, right? Like people sitting next to us, people passing by, people in other countries, we tend to judge everybody, right? And I think the kind of image India has probably for people who do cold calling is probably spoiled or probably tarnished by
Yes,
a lot of credit card calls we get on a daily basis. And the difference which we have to understand, and this is something which I was talking to another person on kind of training. This person works in a well-settled position in one of the biggest banks. This person is trying to get the SDR role, and I was trying to tell him how it is actually different from the way you get the credit card calls, because they are given a list where you simply have to dial, and it's like a spray and pray. You dial with people, one person answers, convince them to take a credit card, and your job is done. While it's not the same, right? One, that's like, I don't have a word for it, that's not work, that's like slavery. What I would say, you're just, I'm sorry, so I'm sorry for the wrong word. It's like, you're not really using your head to see that, hey, you're doing something which is not really resulting into something productive. That's the reason in the sales development we have something called a blended approach, right? Because we don't know what approach might work. So in this case, I can understand in India, predominant way of contacting people would be phone. People rely on phone. I get that. But instead of telling me, hey, I'm calling from so-and-so bank and, I have a credit card offer for you, you've practically not done any research for me. You practically have shown me that I'm one of the 100 people you're going to call. The moment I say I'm not impressed, you're going to move on to the next person and do the same thing. And when you're telling me I'm a valuable customer, I know I'm not, because you have not done anything to tell me how I'm valuable to you. You're simply telling me I'm one of the valuable customers. But what makes me valuable is something you've not described to me. So yeah, I think it's all about understanding the role in a deeper and a better way. At the same time, I think what companies need to start doing is, of course, appreciating their reps more and trying to tell the world, hey, it's even though it looks like an entry-level role, it's not. Because if you think about this, even though, let's say, the role might appear as entry-level, it might say a rep, but if you think about it, there are managers out there, people holding the title as managers who are not happy with the job, who are earning way less than you are, and probably does not have a work-life balance. You have everything out there. Are you still gonna fight over a title?
So I want to tell this to my viewers. Rahul just mentioned that there are managers who are earning lesser than SDRs. Father-in-law, if you're listening to this, you can go check out my LinkedIn. I will not mention representative there. I'll take care of your daughter. And the second thing, when you mentioned about when you were comparing the cold calls that banks make for selling credit cards, and you mentioned about how different this is, I could sense that I could relate to that so much, because when I was interviewing for a SaaS company like ChargeBee, what happened was I was asked this question that you have a list and you have to cold call or you have to set up meetings with those people, right? A person who's selling credit cards will probably just directly start calling from 1, 2, 3, 4 and then go up to the 100 number that's there. But the reason why I was asked that question, now I realize that, is you need to pick up the hot leads. You need to do your research on the leads which are which have been contacted earlier, where there's been a buffer of just a week or something like that. You don't have to directly start with the people who were last contacted 1 year back, right? So you filter out that out of 125 leads, and then out of those 25 leads, you have to pick out even hotter ones, and then start picking up the low hanging fruits.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's the kind of sense you need to put in that kind of work. One, and second, you have to do a lot of research on the prospects before you're calling. That's what 2 months has been for me, right? I can go on booking meetings without thinking about what the prospects would want and what are they looking for exactly, or if they really are looking for something for a solution that I'm selling. So that's one thing that I really value about this work. I may book just 2 meetings a day, but I know that out of the 6 calls I've made, they are productive, and those other 4 people who are left out are contacted leads, and they'll get back to me, or I'll follow up with them probably next week. So that's the kind of difference that we have in this job as compared to the other sales jobs. Actually, that's what I think.
Absolutely, and I think that's exactly what everybody wants to understand. Everybody has to understand. And I think there are so many leaders out there in the world of India now who are taking this job very seriously and trying to give that sense of fulfillment their SDR to their reps, to people who are doing this job. Because if you ask me, this is exactly the hardest job in the world. I know I'm not trying to compare this with the plumber job where somebody cleaning toilets. I know there are different rules. But in that role, at least you know you're going to get paid. You know that you're not going to get rejected. Like somebody's not going to reject you the right to clean the toilet. Right. In this one, you're told every day, hey, you know what? I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. And then you have to still keep the brave face, move on. I think interesting chat.
Hashtag BDR appreciation week.
Yeah, hashtag BDR appreciation week. Yeah. I think that was definitely a start to something big. Hopefully, this becomes like a SDR appreciation day, BDR appreciation hour, or maybe seconds. I don't know.
So, Rahul, if you have to give one message to the SDRs and the BDRs out there for the next steps of action, or what is it? What is that one thing that can be a takeaway from this video for them?
I think it has to be like what we just discussed, that wear your role as a throne on your head, because the way I see it is, if you don't work, nobody gets paid. So if you keep that in mind, that unless you don't speak to prospect, unless you don't get the meetings do not close, company does not run on revenue, nobody gets paid. So you are actually doing the most important job for the company.
Thank you for saying that. I feel so much better. All right. So to the viewers who are watching this, we have tried this video out for the first time to talk about sales, and if this turns out to be something productive or something that has been a takeaway for you, we would love to make more videos with different SDRs. If you are an SDR and want to reach out to talk about sales and your experiences, your stories, we'll be happy to make videos with you. And again, Rahul, what do you think? If this video gets a lot of good reaction or some kind of feedback, it kind of helps people out. Do you think we can make more videos like this?
Sure, and in fact, I would love to have somebody who's in Bangalore to come on the show next Saturday or next weekend. And next weekend, we'd love to host you. Yeah, just DM us or simply tag somebody who you think will be on the show.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.